Alex Lepak from the University of Wisconsin, and I'm going to present to you my poster on the pharmacodynamic driver of efficacy determination of MBX5452, which is a novel anti-virulence compound that targets the type 3 secretion system in Pseudomonas. So a little bit of background about type 3 secretion system. This is something that all Pseudomonas contain, and it makes effector proteins that help the organism evade immune system clearance. So it stands to reason that if you could target the type 3 secretion system and perhaps shut it down, your immune system would be able to more ably remove the infection. So this was a standard animal pulmonary infection model, and I'm not going to go through necessarily all the methods which you can read on the poster, but a few important points about the pneumonia model that we used. This was an immunocompetent immune model. And the reason for that, obviously, is you need immune cells to help clear the organism with this compound. The second important point that I would make is that because this is not a traditional antibacterial, we were not able to measure an MIC. And so we used an in vitro cell cytotoxicity assay to calculate the 50% concentration that helps prevent cytotoxic effects from the type 3 secretion system, or the EC50, as many of you will probably be familiar with these types of measurements. We also looked at the EC90 as well, and I will show you those results. So on to the results, which go top to bottom here. And the EC50 was a concentration of 1.1 microgram per mil. The EC90 was 6.2 micrograms per mil. Now, you will note in the poster some limited growth, and that is because this is an immunocompetent model, which there is limited growth of organism in immunocompetent models. Most mouse models are immunocompromised. But again, this was an immunocompetent model because we need the immune system to help clear the organism. The pharmacokinetics are shown. I'm not going to necessarily walk through them. It was very linear pharmacokinetics, and we measured plasma and ELF, and there was a good concentration, or a good penetration, I should say, into the ELF at between 34 and 43%. Now we'll get to kind of the meat of the results here, which are kind of in the middle. We have dose response curves for the dose fractionation studies that we did. You'll see two of them. The reason that there were two dose fractionation studies was that we did one with the compound itself and one with a sub-efficacious dose of meropenem at 2 milligram per kilogram Q8. And so we did dose fractionation studies. Again, on the left here is the compound by itself, and on the right is the compound with a sub-efficacious meropenem. And you can see that the dose response curves for the fractionation experiments are extremely similar in both. Below these dose response studies of the different dose fractionation regimens, we have the regression analysis that many of you are very familiar with, I'm sure, seeing these types of analyses. And so we regressed the following PK/PD parameters. AUC to EC50 is on the left for both, Cmax to EC50 in the middle, and time above EC50 shown on the far right. And so in the top portion versus the bottom portion is, top is again the compound by itself. The bottom portion is the regression analysis with meropenem at a sub-efficacious dose. And so you'll see that the results demonstrated concentration dependence. AUC and Cmax both performed very well, especially for the compound by itself, with very high R-squared values. And for the compound with a sub-efficacious meropenem, Cmax performed better than AUC, but both, again, were much better than time-dependent activity. On the bottom, we actually put an interesting evaluation where we looked at the effect of the compound with a sub-efficacious meropenem, which are all the individual dots. And we also looked at meropenem at a maximally efficacious dose, which is the red dashed line. And so you can see that over increasing concentrations of the compound MBX5452 with a sub-efficacious meropenem, you approached the effect that you would see with a maximally efficacious meropenem dose. And so that, in a nutshell, is the poster here, and you're free to contact me with any questions. Thank you for listening.